True Catholic Television Network.
I solemnly swear that I will faithfully
In a prosperous and free democracy can be built in the Philippines upon the ruins of war, the prestige of America, and the American way of life.
Más hermosa lección de diplomacia.
All this kindness, all this courtesy.
They cannot succeed without the support of the people. We cannot succeed without the support of our people.
But I was not fighting for lawyers, but for the people.
Na kagalang-galang na bumubuo sa ika-10 Kongreso.
In times of financial and economic stress,
I, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, fulfill my duties as President of the Philippines.
May gabi mga igala ug niya na punta sa atong hugna sa atong Politics and Beyond sa atong programa. Ako si Eric Espina ug malingaw ta sa atong kuan karon atong mga tukion kay kani mangutana ta nangisog ba ni sila, isog ba ni sila kaning hakbang ng maisog. So we're very happy at least in Cebu. I don't know if they're doing it in Manila, but we're very happy to have them as our guest. We have to my right si Elmer Hugalbot, and then we have attorney Irene Caballes, who used to have a program here in CCTN, and then we welcome them because kaniya itong programa abli man para sa tanan kay kamumay among gibantayan ang katawhan, no? Ang yanong katawhan. So thank you very much for coming to Politics and Beyond. And we'd like to cover, a slew of topics, especially since with the currency of many burning and nagdilaab ng mga issues. So, firstly, it's just to predicate the issue is, who is maisog? What is hakbang ng maisog? Anybody can just jump in, or both of you at the same time.
both of us at the same time.
Ladies first. Sige, ladies first.
Good evening, may gabi sa tanan nga tigsubaybay sa Politics and Beyond.
Yes.
Okay, hakbang ng maisog. First came to life, or it was first birth, the way I understood it, way back last quarter of 2023.
Okay.
When former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte received word from his daughter and Senator Amy Marcos na there was a planned People's Initiative for Charter Change.
Yes.
Sakto ba mer mo man to katong na ay gipang papirma kay ilisdan unta ang konstitusyon.
Okay.
Okay. Then sige Elmer.
Una sa
Because
tanan.
you were there pag December.
Yeah. Where was this? Where was all these events happening? In Manila, in Davao, in where?
The Vice President and Senator Amy came to Davao.
Okay.
Okay.
And President Duterte was
There.
nagstorya sila tulo.
Yes.
Blurry nga part nga nagistorya silang tulo, but in any case unas tanan Eric at sa tanan nimong mga tigpaminaw o nagtanaw karon nagangay salamat sa imong pag-imbitar namo isip representante sa kaning kalihukan nga hakbang ng maisog I'll go back to what Attorney Irene has said kaning hakbang ng maisog mura ni siya amalgamation of the two languages Tagalog.
Yes.
Hakbang maisog nga binisaya ug waray meaning step of the brave lakang sa mga isog
I see.
so karon sakto si Irene dito kini mahimugso sa Davao City in the last quarter of 2023 kay niabot sa lamisa ni former President Duterte nga dunay gibuhat nga People's Initiative to amend the Constitution
Okay.
based on the premise nga kinahanglan usbon ang mga economic provisions, no?
Okay.
Sa atong Batakang Balaod. Karon nakita ni former President Duterte nga adto ginipadong sa giingon nilang Chacha aron mapalawig ug balik, no, ang ma-perpetuate in power ba ang Marcos Romualdez nga kanang tandem, no, kung tawag nato tandem ba inano, no? Now we cannot really say nga nagmeeting si Inday Sara, si Aimee o si Tatay Digong atong panahona, but we were told nga si Aimee ang nagpadala og mensahe ngadto ni former President Duterte, no? And tungod diadto gitipon ni former President Duterte ang mga sinaligan kayo niya, no, around him, led by former cabinet secretary and long-time friend, no, mga almost 40 years or more than 40 years na ilang relasyon, si Capsec Jody Basco. Unya ilang gipresentar nga
Which we will invite, I hope he can come
I hope,
also.
I hope, no.
He has a welcome invitation.
All you have to do is say the word. I think he will be very happy to come.
Pero in addition, dito nagsugod, no? Mo tong nahimugso ang unang hakbang ng maisog nga rally dito sa Davao City, January 28,
Who crafted the name Maisog? Because that's the ethos, eh. That's already the start of the ethos.
What we heard, the maisog came from VP herself.
That's an urban legend probably, no, pero we cannot confirm nor deny kinsay naghatag, but again it's no longer about the meaning or the one nga kinsay nagbindisyon or nagbunyag aning nga grupo, but going back ang unang maisog rally gyud dito sa Davao.
Okay.
Dito gipanganlan ni former President Duterte nga bangag si Bongbong Marcos.
Okay.
At that time, no, ug makita ninyo, ma-review to ninyo
January 2024.
January 28, 2024, no? Makita ninyo ni pan ang kamera ug sa ubos sa entablado nagtapad didto si Aimee Marcos ug si VP Sara Duterte.
Okay.
Meaning to say, sa unang maisog rally sa Davao City, bisan og wala sa entablado si VP Sara o si Senator Aimee, naa sila sa ubos. And eventually, because of what happened or what transpired atong panahon na perting sukuan ni Lisa Marcos, kay ngano kuno nga gitawag og bangag ang presidente, nagkatawa-katawa ra kuno si VP Sara, samutan pag yung kuno nga nagtapad og si Aimee nga igsuon sa presidente, ni katawa lang kuno nga gitawag ni former President Duterte nga bangag si Bongbong Marcos. So, cut the long story short, nasundan dayon kini dinhi sa Cebu. No?
Okay.
So it was February 25, 2024. Dito sa SRP, ang nagpahigayon nato si former mayor, then mayor, Mayor Mike Rama, dito na nahimugso or gipahigayon ang mga imbitado ato, sila si former President Duterte, si Baste Duterte, Attorney Vic Rodriguez, Harry Roque, I think was
Harry
there.
Roque was there.
Sila, so dito
Glenn Chong was there.
Glenn Chong was there. Ang nag-facilitate ato sila ni Attorney Irene. Wala pa'y hakbang ng maisog ato nga movement.
Dili pa to siya. Ang among grupo ato was Transparency, Accountability, Peace and Security Coalition, or TAPS Coalition.
TAPS, okay.
Eventually, hakbang ng maisog would come to adopt that advocacy.
Yes, kaya nito po mong no?
But TAPS still exists.
TAPS Coalition still exists as the advocacy guidelines. Ang advocacy sa TAPS mao ay gikuan sa hakbang ng maisog.
So it was married into the hakbang ng maisog. Pero ano ito po magod Boss Eric, no? After the maisog rally sa Cebu, no, dito na tao nagkalisod-lisod ang kinabuhi ni Mayor Mike Rama.
Okay.
Dito na nagsugod ang iyahang mga suspensions, iyahang mga kaso, no? In fact, pila na kakaso ang gi-file ato. Unya nakita po nato kay tungod ni adto ni usbong ang nagkalain-laing mga chapter, no?
Yes.
Kung tawagon, no? Although hantod karon wala gi formal hierarchy ang hakbang ng maisog, no? Wala gid may sets of officer, wala hierarchy, wala tanan, no? These are just an informal amalgamation of concerned individuals sa mga nagkalain-laing dapit sa atong nasod, sa gawas sa nasod. So karon natukod ang lain-laing mga chapters, no? Gikan diri sa Pilipinas hantod sa laing nasod. Hong Kong, hakbang ng maisog, Hong Kong, Japan, Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, NCR, Bulacan. So dito pag human nato, giipit na og sugod ang
More or less
mga
a battle cry, no?
More siya battle cry.
Battle cry, it's not really as if the structural organization, wala gyud nana.
Wala.
It's meant to
It's
be.
more of a sentiment.
Yeah.
It's meant
It's
to
of
be.
outrage? Would it be outrage?
It would be outrage. It would be vigilance, social activism. Yun ni siya nga
Social
movement.
activism.
Or apoplectic?
Usahay. It seems that way.
Sa kasuko, bakit sa iyo inananay ito? Sa
We cannot afford to be apoplectic na mag-shiver at yung faces.
Sa kasuko na ba? Sa kasuko.
No comment.
Okay. No. So it's mura ni siyang pizza. There is no, it's not triangular. The structure is not triangular.
It's not
It's
triangular.
a pizza.
I would describe it as more of a spherical rather than a circular pizza.
Okay.
It has the surface area greater than the and it rolls anywhere.
You're
no?
talking of quantum reality already. That's what I determine. It's existing in different
But
realities.
one thing that Hakbang ng Maisog does attribute its founders to, the founders are really si Tatay Digong ug si Kabsek.
Yes.
Okay.
I failed to mention that, no. Manang ang tawag na mo sa duha, punong maisog, no. Ang dalawang punong maisog sa hakbang ng maisog, former President Duterte ug ang iyang kapikas si Kabsek John Ibasco. Karon nga tuan na sa The Hague, no, si Tatay Digong ang ni step into his place, walay lain kundili si Mayor Basti Duterte na pod. So ang among tawag niya usa na pod ka punong maisog.
I have a question. We've seen all these happenings in Metro Manila, in the Senate and all that. Have there been any movements against the organization, against punong maisog, like former Kabsek Johnny Vasco? Do you feel that kind of a movement towards against the group?
Well, actually they haven't told me, no, sa ilahang personal kuan, but we feel, no, judging from the conference nga nay security threats, nay mga intimidations and all that, no. And in fact, Irene and I have experienced that, no. I myself, no, was one of the 37 bloggers nga gipatawag atong Quad Committee, no, of the 19th Congress. Regularly I see, surveillance vehicles in front of my gate, no, especially kung naayo maabot nga activity ang hakbang ng maisog, magpuli-puli dito ang mga super black team. And I'm not a military guy, but you are. But I've seen a lot of movies. You know how they behave.
And they're so obvious.
Very, very obvious. No?
So it's an oxymoron.
Well, yes. No, it's probably to also intimidate. Hey, we're watching you.
I don't know if it's really to intimidate or it's merely to, break cover so that they can safely say, our cover has been blown. Because actually they might really like us.
That's another take. That's another good take. Okay.
No comment.
No comment.
But did you guys ever sit down and come up with, these are the points that we have to focus on, and this is what the movement means? Its heart, its soul, ay na ba?
We regularly have to do some compass checking.
Okay.
And recalibrate sometimes. Murag na layo naman ta, or ning simang gamay, or murag kani mo pinaka-urgent, we need to do this before we can do this so that we can get there.
Because they say direction also determines the conversation.
Yes. Mo gini amo ang remind ourselves, will it promote transparency? Will it promote accountability? Will it promote peace? Will it promote security? So kana nga mga guidelines.
Yeah, which brings us back to the first principles of hakbang ng
Yes. What are the 1, 2, 3, 4?
Well, it started out as a call out sa Katulaging People's Initiative to amend the Constitution. In fact, if you remember, nag-viral ang hashtag atong hashtag Davao is not for sale.
Yes.
Eventually,
Cebu is not for sale.
Cebu is not for sale, and eventually it blossomed into the Filipinos are not for sale. If you remember that hashtag, ang sinugdanan ato katong People's Initiative. In fact, the Senate Electoral Reforms Committee, then chaired by Senator Amy Marcos, conducted a hearing. Kay nakita man gyud dito nga na mga ebidensya nga naay ayuda, no, in exchange for the signature, naay pila ba to dihay panghatag, no. So nahunong to. Pero if you look back katong mga istorya ni Tatay Digong during the first Maisog Rally, that's why nga gipakaslan sa hakbang ng Maisog ang TAPS Coalition, no? Kay ang advokasya sa TAPS Coalition nga transparency, accountability, peace and security gi-adapt sa hakbang ng Maisog, being our first principles na. Kay dili naman lang to parte sa constitutional amendments. Nakita naman po dito, in fact dito po gali gisulti man siguro to ni Digong nga Congress is the most rotten institution of the government. Daghan pa siya giyawit dito, daghan pa siya gibatbat dito nga makita na gyud nato karon nga nahitabo na. Now, if you revisit those first or that first rally in Davao, makita gyud nimo nga he laid it out even sa Cebu, no? He laid it out. Now we're actually seeing it, no? Murag self-fulfilling prophecy ba ang nahitabo.
Do you sense that all the conversation regarding the possibility of charter change recently is finding some traction, and could it be real or is it still imagined?
For me, I don't know if Elmer will agree, but the way I see it now, and I don't want to be alarmist also, but the way I see it now, they have been violating the Constitution so many times already with little protest. And sakto sad si Rolando Sasot ato, if this government could send a former president to The Hague without him passing through our own constitutional judicial systems, then they were able to do it. There was a lot of protest, yes, but not enough to really stop their movements in its tracks. So at this point, are we worried about charter change? At least if it's charter change, it will have to go through some constitutional procedure. But if you're just violating the constitutional provisions now, like you're saying, oh, this is the new Senate president because he has the majority of 12, when the Constitution says it has to be a majority of 13. If you can do something like that without having to actually amend the Constitution or let the courts interpret the Constitution, isn't this in fact worse than any of the trigger the words that would trigger fear, no? Words like martial law. Let's not do this because we're we might be in martial law. At least martial law is in the Constitution. But listen, what do you call this? It's not Republican because obviously I don't think what's happening now is representative of popular will. It's not democratic. So what is it?
Magbabalik po ang ating programa Politics and Beyond. Pagpapatuloy po natin itong ating diskusyon sa pagbabalik po natin.
Discover the beauty of the Philippines. Philippine Airlines, the country's flag carrier. The airline that lets you feel the warmth of the nation. Mabuhay!
Back with us in Politics and Beyond, America Spina. We're still talking to the Maisog, Hakbang ng Maisog, with Elmer Hugalbot and attorney Irene Caballes. So, is there something on paper? Like, if I'm somebody who wants to join Maisog, pwede na ako tanawon sa inyong gibarugan, ginana? Or, kuha lang na, word of mouth, it's...
Actually,
actually,
every month we have an orientation before we let anybody who wants to be a member take their oaths as members.
Okay.
So that happens every month in our headquarters.
Office? Oh, your office would be in?
Yeah, It's near Rizal Library.
Okay. So at least kabalo ang mga tao kung
Yeah.
if they would
It's
like
in
to.
we have our page, Hakbang ng Maisog Cebu.
And you welcome individuals
Yes.
or groupings or
Individuals.
organizations.
Tanan.
Tanan.
Every all.
Every all.
Okay.
And actually, most times there's really people there. There's really members there who are volunteers who would also welcome any walk-ins.
Ang nahitabo mong gud ani Boss Eric, maong among gibuhat na lang yun na nga naa gyud registration bisan og dili mi formal nga organisasyon. Daghan man gud gayong nikatap ron nga murag mga uhong ba nga nanubo na bitaw. Unya gidala angan ni VP Sara Duterte na dag maisog here, maisog there and everywhere. Unya nakita namo nga aron dili ma-confuse ang mga tao, unya makahibaw po dyan sila dili ta pareha ng ubang mga grupo nga basta mo pirma na lang ka, membro na ka, wag ay kakibaw unsa imong giapilan.
Yes.
Mo contact yun mi og siguro mga 10-15 minutos nga orientation.
Okay.
And we ask them.
Si Elmer ang mag-orient, maglingaw man na.
Nay ID wala. Kay kanang ID dako kay nang butang.
Actually na ID no. In fact akong ipakita karon bay no.
Kasabot pa mo basta Cebuano makita yung ID. Makita yung ID. No?
Okay nga no, ang kaning among ID no, kita ra mo'y gitagaan og pribilehiyo nga ibutang ang facsimile sa signature ni Rodrigo Duterte sa likod sa atong ID no. So makita nimo natay ID, naay QR code no.
Oo. Muna siya. And then money and then sa likod nagyoy pirma ni Juan Rodrigo Duterte. Yes, likod din na muna siya. Muna siya.
So naayod ang pirma ni Digong.
Gwapo.
Nindot siya, ako man ang gwapo. Ingon si mama nako.
Okay. So, who chose Congressman Jose Duterte? Kinsa may ningkuan? Kinsa may nagbutang niya?
Actually, wala.
Kamo lang, it was just what? Osmosis? How did it
Murag
go?
osmosis, no? Murag osmosis
It
kay
became the natural inclination.
murag nahagit man gud siya no, Boss Eric. Kay tungod lagi sa kana bitong pagkaguhay-guhay kuno, no? Ako actually I do not agree no with that theory nila no. Nga kinahanglan ko no ang mga supporters sa mga Duterte had to be united no. Pero I believe no, and I think Attorney Irene agrees with me on this nga dili gyud pwede nga ang supporters sa mga Duterte ma-unite precisely because number one, they have their own vested interest.
Okay.
And in that vested interest could either be economic or political.
This is called real talk.
This is real talk. Politics.
Real
so
politics.
the attempt of Baste no to unify the Duterte supporters, because even in Cebu, if you look at how many organizations claim to be supporters of VP Sara,
Dagang hawod,
They all claim to be
everything na lang yun, ilang pangalan is Duterte no. Again, I do not blame them no, og tinuod gina, why problema na nato no, but our common ground and our common goal ang si Inday no. Ang problema man gud anang imong i-unite ang naa sa ubos. For example, mga kontra sila sa politika sa ilang tagsa-tagsa ka mga lokal nga mga panggobyerno no, LGUs no, dako problema. Kontra sila sa mga negosyo no, competitor sila sa negosyo. For example, competitor mo sa trucking or competitor mo sa distribution. So dili gid na dakong posibilidad nga dili gid may ana no. In fact, mas ganahan pagalita ako mismo nga naagi mo encourage sa dissent among the supporters para makita gid nimo, mahubuan nimo kung kinsa gid tinuod nga supporter nga nibarog sa mga prinsipyo nga atong pakigbisugan. So mao na nga ang Rage Coalition dito niya nakita nga dapat i-tipo no. So launch to ang Rage Coalition. Ang meaning ng Rage Coalition
That's the next question I was going to ask you. Unsa ba inyong relasyon sa Maisog, sa Rage? Are they one and the same? Are they cousins? Bloodline?
Irene will be better.
Ang Rage Coalition is the coalition sa PDP, Laban, Reform, PH and Partido
Reforma ng Pilipinas.
Reforma. They're the ones who spearheaded that, hoping to unite the Duterte supporters,
the orphans, the political orphans,
sa ground. Well, ang hakbang ng while we have become a solid group. Like we can speak for Cebu. We have our headquarters na there. We've become organized. I'm talking about Cebu. We are mostly concerned really with social political activism.
Okay.
Not for political gathering yun or to tuboy a certain candidate. Like I said, our four advocacies are still TAPS.
Okay.
So ang maisog, because we are under the president of PDP Laban, which is Mayor Baste Duterte, naturally, we have to support Rage Coalition also. It's for us, it's a natural
So
progression.
mag-agaw ang duha. Inana na lang.
Supporter.
Yes, mag-agaw. If I may add, sa gisulti ni Attorney Irene, no, ang Rage Coalition manggod, Boss Eric, no, more of an alliance of three political parties, no?
Okay.
PDP Laban of Mayor Baste and Tatay Digong. Reform PH is actually a political party of former Senator Gringo Hunasan and former Congressman Mike Defensor.
Okay.
Partido Reforma ng Pilipinas, no, is actually a political party of former Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez.
Okay.
So kanang lead proponents ng Rage Coalitions, mga political parties gina. Ably supported by other parallel groups, no, like Maisog.
Speaking about parallel groups, they wanted to unite also parallel groups. By the term parallel, it means we don't have to actually like each other all the time because we're parallel. Parallel. So when you say parallel, you cannot fuse
You're moving
them.
into the same direction.
You're moving the same direction but on different lanes.
Yeah, but
So
on a certain distance from each other. Yeah. But anyways, if I may go back sa akong gisulti ka ganina, og makita mo gani mga Rage Coalition actually is more on the campaign actions na, no, for the 2028 elections.
So that's focus for 2028.
Focus for 2028. On the contrary, hakbang ng Maisog actually, it has always been our call for Bongbong Marcos to step down. And the ascension
That's
of,
your spearhead.
That's our
Your
spearhead.
spearhead is to call for BBM
Yes, yes.
In the interest of transparency, accountability, peace, and security, he is not making the Philippines or Philippine governance a more transparent or accountable place. In fact, it's the opposite. He's not promoting peace because I don't know what pocket is telling what pocket to America, what pocket is telling what pocket to China. The hands are in different pockets. So,
Okay.
and then he's definitely not promoting security. So on the basis of that, you're not good for our advocacies. You're not good for the nation. You should step down. That has always been our call.
Okay.
Nya makita pud na nato, nya madungog pud na nato, no, atong haya sa igsuon ni former President Rodrigo Duterte nga si Bong Duterte, no.
Yes.
Gi-interview si Inday Sara, no, si VP Sara, gi-interview siya, gipangutana siya nga Madam Vice President, unsay plano nimo sa 2028? Ang tubag direktamente ni VP Sara, napabada itay Pilipinas ining ka 2028, no, considering to the issues at hand, no. And that was before the war in Iran was started by the Americans on February 28. It was somewhere around February 16 or 17, no? If my memory serves me right. And then February 18 mo siguro to, no? She announced, okay, nakalit siya og appear, no, all in black, without the seal of the office of the Vice President sa iyang podium. Only the flag of the Philippines.
Yes.
Unya iyang gisulti didto nangayo siya pasaylo sa kinatibukan sa nasod sa Pilipinas.
7 to 8 times.
Yes, no. Unya ang katapusan didto, if you can visit it, niana siya sa tinagalog pa, ako si Sara Zimmerman Duterte, tatakbong Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Mudagan siya isip presidente sa Republika ng Pilipinas. Pero why year?
Why tuig?
Why tuig?
Okay.
No mention of the word
No mention
elections.
of elections, no mention of 2028, no. So we took it to mean nga Rage ready good siya. No, besides her being the constitutional successor, she is ready if the people decides, no, that she should be legally and constitutionally,
She's ready to succeed. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Anytime, whatever conditionality.
Anytime, no? Anytime.
If the people want a leader, finally, at any conditionality, she's ready to step
So
in.
mo nang rage, the political front, ang maisog is the socio-activism front, and they can go together.
Okay.
Kay kung wagi mahimo ang atong panawagan nga
Can somebody be a member of Rage and also maisog?
Oh,
yes.
So, klaro lang, kay mga tao, naglibog mo yun na how it is, no?
Okay, for everybody's knowledge, hakbang ng maisog do not own
Okay.
people.
Yes.
So we espouse the ideals of liberty.
Okay.
Diba? So you are free to assemble as you see fit. Go anywhere as you see fit. But ang amo lang, if you want to join hakbang ng maisog here in Cebu, at least attend the orientation and understand that our movement is really for tax. It's you're not gonna earn money or maybe popularity here. You might earn more enemies, no? But that's what we stand for.
Mauna nga kami mapasigarbuhon yun mi, no, Boss Eric, nga ang among chapter dinhi sa Hakbang ng Maisog sa Cebu, no. Ug sa uban-uban pang chapter sa Hakbang ng Maisog, wala gyud nagpaluyon namo nga mga dagkong politiko,
Okay.
mga dagkong negosyante,
Aha.
mga kanang mga online gambling operators, mga gambling operators, mga gambling lord, drug lord, or sa tanan nga lord.
Smuggling.
Ang kami or smuggler, wala yun ang walay nagpalayo, dugo singot, no, og kahago sa mga membro ang nagbayad anang among giabangan karon nga lugar nga opisina, mag-amot-amot mi sa among bayranan sa kurente. So kana, no, kay gusto mi nga mobarog nga wa gyud we are not held by the balls, no, kung sa in English pa. So, mo na nga kung kinsa tong ganahan, mo bisita sila sa atong page, no, Hakbang ng Maisog Cebu, kana nay 411,000 na nga followers, no. Makita nila dito, may ka-inquire sila saon pag-appeal, saon pag-attend sa orientation. Unya kasagaran do na tay mga libre nga mga t-shirt printing, no, magdala sila t-shirt, printahan og libre. So, mo na ang gibuhat nato karon pakatap sa atong mga miyembro nga naapata.
I sense what you're saying is giandam nato ang katawhan for whatever will happen.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
There is no like X date for this.
No timeline.
No timeline.
No. We really just hope na makatabang mi nga mo mature ang sense of being what a Filipino should be. That kind of kanang invested ko kay Pinoy ko sa each of the citizenry, hopefully.
Kunya mapasabot ba kanang matabangan po ako, no, ikaw dako kog respeto nimo for
Thank you.
you've been how many decades na, no, sa print media,
Okay,
sa broadcast
almost 40
media,
years
no?
na po.
Ako naalang ko sa usalang ko kayanong lungsuranon nahimong komentarista diha sa social media sukat ni adtong tunga sa tuig 2023, no. Usasad sa among advokasya ug usasad sa among yung lik-on nga gidusok gyud ang pagtabang para maedukar ang yanong mga lungsuranon, yanong mga lumalupyo, unsa gyud katinuoran, unsa gyud nahitabo sa atong nasod karon, especially kanang budget, kanang mga hearing karon sa Senado, sa Blue Ribbon, katong flood control, ang PhilHealth.
That's where I'm going.
Kana, so
That's where I'm going. Off the bat, diretso na yun. Katong nahitabo kang Senator Bato. How do you see it? Nainingon nga, nidagan man siya. Nidagan siya, ingon siya, magpadakop siya. And then you have Senator Trillanes being center of it all. Unsa man eh, is it really all about just the Senate, or are we talking about the environment of where these causalities are happening?
Irene has a very
You're allowed to sigh.
She has a very radical theory.
Sige, I'm full of radical theories.
Okay.
But anyway,
Ikaw, naglibog ng sabi sa mga theory.
Basic lang. Inyong tanaw, kanibang nabagay katungod, nabagay paan ba ang ICC nga hapon si Senator Bato de la Rosa?
Attorney Irene will answer that, but going back to your first question, Manggod Bayrik, no? Mao ni ang atong nakita, no? Ako dili man ko abogado, dili pud ta eksperto sa pamalaod, no? Pero ang atong nakita, nganong nahitabo ang gibuhat nila ni Bato, niadtong February 5, 2025 was the first impeachment against the Vice President. Diin sa unom lang ka oras kipirmahan sa 240 ka mga kongresista ang first impeachment ni Inday. Walay nahitabo. But before that, on January 13 of 2025, nigawas ang Iglesia ni Cristo. Nagrally sa 14 ka mga lugar sa tibuok Pilipinas and abroad. Diin sa NCR alone, niabot og nikabat sa 2 milyones ka mga tao ang nangadto. Unsa man ang rally sa INC on January 13, 2025. They are against the impeachment. Pero wag yapon maminaw ang mga tao ni Bongbong Marcos. Di padayon gyapon sila sa February 5 nga impeachment ni Inday. Karon, kay wa man mo alsa ang mga tao, wa man mo protesta o mayo, unsay gibuhat nila? After the indignation rally of Digong in February 2025, less than 2 weeks, March 11, ilang gikidnap si Digong. Now, we can discuss and debate about whether it was kidnapping or it was a rightful choice by the government. Pero, ang nahitabo, siguro, kay kulang sa oras, wa manggawas ang mga tao. Why ni protesta? Why did ni demand nga iulis di ko? Wala. Walay ni ali sa airport. Wala. Wala gini ngadto. Maybe because matong gidali-dali nila aron di makapurma ang mga tao. But we saw it pagka March 28, pagka birthday ng Digong, milyon gyapon ang nagtipon aron iselebrar ang iyahang ika-80 man siguro to nga adlaw na tawhan. Pero wag gyapon nahitabo. Nagyapon sila sa taas. So karon makita nato nga they are pushing the envelope. Imagine, former president, the most loved president in this
Meaning because there was no reaction.
There was no reaction.
So they think they can still further push.
Yes.
There was a reaction, but it was not enough to draw blood.
Yes.
From them.
Okay.
And I say this not literally ha, kay masin misunderstood na. Yung kanang wa man sila nasungguhan, nasukmagan siguro pero wa ra mo sunggo. So
magbabalik po ang programa natin Politics and Beyond sa pagbalik nato atong umano ng ikatapos ng hugna sa atong programa.
Nangita pa mong gugog para internet sa kong anak, ma.
Ay, wala na yung problema. Pag sinisibo.
Sinisibo, sinisibo.
For your internet connection.
And for the signal of your cable TV.
So fast and straight that transmission to your phone.
Sinisibo.
Sinisibo, sinisibo.
Offers you to have fiber optics
for your viewing experience, perfect and clear so far.
So great and affordable for you to enjoy.
Sinisibo.
Sinisibo Television Network Incorporated offers fiber to the home broadband internet bundled with fiber to the home cable TV connection. Sinisibo Television Network Incorporated with its operation in Metro Cebu and the whole province of Cebu soon.
And affordable for you to enjoy.
Sinisibo.
Nagbabalik po tayo sa ating programa Politics and Beyond. Kausap po rin po natin si Ginoong Elmer Hugalbot at si Attorney Irene Caballes. Pinag-uusapan po natin ang hakbang ng maisog. So, Senator Bato de la Rosa nagpakita and then kaning arrest warrant is he really a fugitive from justice? From the perspective of Kwan, Hakbang na Mayso.
He's not a fugitive from justice insofar as the Philippine setting is concerned, because that warrant from the ICC, it still needs to be processed. You know, you cannot just make it automatic here in the Philippines, because you have to. There's a provision there in that law sa katong crimes against humanity, subject to existing rules on extradition and surrender.
More na complementarity katong.
Yeah, so you cannot just automatically do that to him. File the necessary petition first in court or whatever to have it.
The executive branch, that's why I'm saying the executive branch and all its agencies are saying this is surrender. How does that hold water from your...
The Supreme Court, I think, necessarily has to interpret what they mean by subject to existing extradition rules on surrender or whatever. There's a phrase there. There's a proviso.
Because going back to...
Walang nako, madala akong folga.
Would the Bill of Rights be the most simplest way to argue the point?
Yes.
Because the Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
Supreme law of the land.
International law...
Nobody shall be deprived of life, liberty without due process.
And it's not their due process. It's our
due
process. There's also such a thing that if any foreign order or any foreign law or even a treaty that we recognize is no longer in alliance with our constitution, our constitution will always be the one that reigns supreme.
And should it be correct to say that the status of an international agreement is one of just of domestic legislation and does not rise to the level of a constitution?
No.
Yes. If you adopt something like a treaty,
it is only just
as a part of the
ordinary
law
legislation.
of the land, even a law of a land has to be within the lens of the Constitution and not outside.
Yes. No. And if I have to add, no, ang pinakanindot nga analogy no, Boss Eric sa atong mga naminaw karon, no, kanang foreign marriage, no. If you are divorced in any jurisdiction outside of the Philippines, no, you cannot be considered single unless that divorce
is recognized
here. You have to go to court for the Philippines, for the courts, no, to declare it, no,
jurisdictional
na guna. So kana kasal ra gali na between two parties. Unsa na kanang ang tibuok nasod mo imong gigaid anang klasiha sa tratado. Ikaduha, sa imong pangutana kaganina, doon lang ko ipuno, no, para nato, in fact, para sa Korte Suprema, dili pa man fugitive from justice si Senator Bato, because og imong ma-revisit katong ilahang desisyon pag-deny sa iyang prayer for a TRO o status quo anti-order, dunay obiter dictum si Justice Leonen. Kay sa counter or sa comments sa Office of the Solicitor General, gi-invoke nila ang fugitive disentitlement doctrine.
Yes.
Diin ang kanang kung ikaw fugitive na,
you're not entitled to court.
You are no longer entitled, no? Sa mga sa mga luxuries, no, or sa mga rights, no, kay mo dapat magpadakop o sa ka or mo dapat sa ka or mo surrender ka, no. Pero ang sulti dito nga dili pa siya kay ngano unresolved pa ang jurisdictional issue sa warrant against Bato de la Rosa coming from the ICC, no.
They only denied the TRO.
Yes, so technically dili pa gyud siya fugitive from justice, and in fact ang legal counsel karon ni Senator Bato are still doing all the legal remedies, no.
All this could have been avoided, no, if siguro the Supreme Court acted on the petition of Mayor or President Duterte, no?
Sa habeas corpus.
Oo, diba?
Habeas corpus.
Dugay naglimin dito, no? So at least maklaro ba? And then, usa lang sa akong mga pautana din
we cannot say about that.
And then, there's another point here. Muna siguro gigamit nila ang terminong surrenders because there is another law here which is PD 1069. Now, kung imong basahon, it's very procedural.
Very procedural.
So kung imo nang basahon, pwede nang gamiton sa kay mas kuan ni siya sa constitution siguro, di ba? If mas align sa kuan sa atong constitution. So kaning mga nahitabo sa Senate, again, I go back. Is this really all about the gymnastics in the Senate, the dynamics in the Senate? Or is this part of a bigger amalgamation of political preparations for 2028?
It's not even an amalgamation of preparations for 2028. It's actually an amalgamation for preparations for them to stay in power as long as they want.
It might possibly be moves so that there's no longer a need for 2028.
Yes. Kaya nga no looking at the big picture, okay. Unsa may roy gisigihan nila duot nga doktrina aron dili pwedeng maka-appeal sa pagbutar sa impeachment proceedings or even the Blue Ribbon Committee hearings, no? Ang mga senador nga wala karon diha sama ni Senator Bato o ang mga napreso sama ni Jinggoy Estrada. Ang ilang bisag kana karon nga constitutional question gyapon na, no, is a quorum as defined by the Constitution refer to the Senate as a 24-member body or just the physically present that can attend the session. Ilan ang gi-invoke, di ba? Pero dili mo tuman ang Cayetano Blanca, which remains to be solved, no? Kaya nga no, ang Constitution textually ningon man all members. Wa man mo ingon nga all members present.
All members in good standing. Imong gyud all members.
All members.
Hasta ang Rule 2, Section 2 po sa Senate Rules also actually copies the Constitution.
Exactly. No, so karon ang nahitabo mo gud ana, it's a very dangerous precedent.
They cite a
1949.
A 1949 ruling under the 1935 Constitution.
As amended in 1940 also.
Yes. So and in fact it was actually not a decision, it was a dismissal for the court cannot step in political questions, no? But eventually both sides agreed, no, to put it on the table sa Supreme Court kay aron madesisyonan na gyud kay para mawa ang impasse, no, ang gridlock, no. But going back to the Avellino Cuenco doctrine, mao mo gisigihan nila push karon.
Balik yes.
Kay nga no, once ilan ang ma-adapt, meaning pwede na nila gamito na nga ipaubos ang denominator sa Senado aron makuha nila ang gusto nilang boto aron ma-convict si VP Sara Duterte sa umaabot nga impeachment trial. Ngano? Kung pananglitan ron mapriso, wala nas Bato. Napriso na si Jinggoy. Og mapriso si Joel Villanueva. Kung mapriso si Rodante Marcoleta nga nanay plunder case karon.
Robin Padilla na may kaso.
Si Robin Padilla, obstruction of justice. Delikado gyapon og mapriso. Now, mapriso na ng unom, unya mo succeed sila aning Avellino doctrine, mahimo na lang ang denominator is 18.
Yes.
And 2/3 of 18 is actually 12.
Yes.
Meaning 12 can actually convict VP Sara Duterte sa iyang impeachment.
You did not mention Chis Escudero, so dili siya appeal sa uno.
Nibali naman siya.
Okay. I just had to ask that question.
11 plus 1 naman sila.
I just had to ask that question.
So delikado kayo kay kita nito o magyunta nga for a conviction to happen, they still need 16 votes, no? Now, unless ma-resolve na sa Supreme Court, kay nga no, lalimang ka dili pwede mo appeal, no, ang usa ka senador. Sa to pa asa man siya dili pwede mo appeal sa day-to-day business of the Senate or di sad siya ka-appeal ng pagboto.
They are citing the Franklin Drilon katubang tulo ka bok senador ang napriso. Dinhay upat ka bok natuwa sa abroad. So the denominator change ko no. So you are incapable and you are beyond the jurisdictional authority of the Senate. So on that basis they're saying the denominator can change. Your comment?
Well, only on ako attorney, no? Only in so far as the Senate conducts business, legislative functions,
ordinary business.
Ordinary business, no? But electing officers, no, especially the four heads of the Senate: Senate President pro tempore, the Secretary of the Senate, and the head of the Sergeant at Arms, no, Office of the Sergeant at Arms. It needs to have the majority of the 24-member Senate.
Okay.
No, that's our position.
Gisite ni Senator Franklin Derlo na sa panahon ko, nandiyan naman yan sila, hindi naman sila nagreklamo. Wala yung 7. So,
May I also just mention, maybe people have forgotten, they've already convened the impeachment court, ha? And the impeachment court, Alan Peter Cayetano is the presiding officer. So again, you're gonna push another, but the denominator has changed. So you're gonna reconvene again?
So
wouldn't that be...
I have a question for you, attorney. No, it's not.
I'm actually apprehensive also to make such pronouncements because I'm not the Supreme Court. I'm
yeah, of
only
course, of
looking
course.
at this from common sense na lang.
I was hoping somebody would cite this in the discussions in Manila. What happened to the original impeachment? The first impeachment against VP Sara Duterte.
In 2025?
Yes.
It was null and void.
By whom? By the Supreme Court?
Yes.
Wait, does that right away apply to the Senate? Or because remember, the original, what happened to that was that it was just tabled.
Archived.
It was archived. So technically, it is archived. Or does it follow right away because the Supreme Court says it's unconstitutional? They cannot report that out and say we are dismissing this because it's unconstitutional. Are we saying there doesn't need to be a process?
No, because the first one, the Senate archived it.
Archived it, yes. And then there was a decision.
There was a decision by the Supreme Court that it was null and void.
Does it become automatic? That's what you're saying. So no process.
If it's null and void, there was never a first impeachment. She was never impeached at all. So this one would actually be the first. Because that one was null and void. So,
no process therefore is needed by the Senate.
No process.
Okay, mo rin siyang void ab initio na itabo ni mo.
Void ab initio. Besides also, that was the previous Senate. We are now a different Senate.
So, actually, that was also part of the discussion. No? If and when the Senate, as an impeachment court in the 19th Congress, because it was right smack in an election. No?
Yes.
Pwede bang tabok daw?
Yes. That was one of the issues also.
That was one of the issues. And until now, because it was rendered moot already, no, wa pa na madesisyon nga pwede bang mutabok ang usa ka impeachment trial gikan sa usa ka kongreso nga ngadto bagong kongreso nga lahi na ang constitution, lahi na sa iyang pagka mugna.
So instead of muted, mute lang.
Mute. Wala ginana, no? Wala ginana, no?
Impeachment court.
Okay.
Because the Senate is acting as an impeachment court. So now they've already actually convened it.
Yeah, so I have to agree with Attorney Irene, no? And it's been part of the discussions going on over the last couple days, 3 days, no? Nag-convene na ang impeachment trial court, no, under the presiding officer nga si Alan Peter Cayetano. Karon ang
taken oath.
They have already
They changed
taken
the rules, I understand again.
Yes. So, katong May 13, they changed the rules, no?
Could they do that? I mean, there was a proposal to make it kanang virtual.
Yes.
And then, dili pwede. And then they changed the rules.
Yes, pwede na.
So, explain to us, ordinary people, what does this all mean?
Ang invoke lagi ato nila, in plenary, you can change the rules. Somebody can file a motion in the plenary, but it should be a day before that to inform every member, no, and then voted upon the plenary, no.
Yes.
Mo to ilang untang gi-propose. In fact, wala pa gi-debate ang substantive part of that motion.
Yes.
Ni
walk out sila.
Walk out din sila, no.
Now, this new majority claims that ilang gilista ng rules, so the Senate President doesn't have to be the one presiding.
Yes.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian can appoint somebody else.
Pero ang problema mo gud
nga without passing through the one day again, kay I mean, what's for the goose is also good for the gander, no?
So many
violations,
interpretations that the Supreme Court will have to interpret for us. Untangle.
Well, number one, this is the issue now, and this is what I've been asking. Cayetano already convened the impeachment court. Win Gatchalian has not convened the impeachment court. And But there is also a question whether an acting Senate President can convene an impeachment court, because the Constitution expressly says that the Senate President, not an acting Senate President.
And then he keeps saying, I am just acting because, of course, he cannot say he's not saying he is. He's not 13.
But is he really the pro tempore? Because going
for
back,
them, he's also not
because
the pro tempore, because he has to have 13, right?
Based upon the Constitution again and Rule 2, Section 2 again, you need all the senators present. So that's why I'm asking you: is he, from your own perspective, is he the pro tempore, or is it still Senator Loren Legarda?
I really just operate from common sense and common, words should be understood in their ordinary meaning.
Yes.
When you say a majority of all, what part of all is hard to understand?
Ito, unsa gali na attorney sa legal maxim kanang textual and
when the
statutory
law is clear.
construction.
No interpretation.
No interpretation is needed. No.
There's no proviso there. All capacitated, all, it just says...
Mao na nga, hantod karon, ang ilang designation ni Win Gatchalian is still an acting Senate President. Even Bongbong Marcos, during his speech sa Independence Day, acknowledged him as the Senate pro tempore, President pro tempore, and acting Senate President.
Which means he is not.
He is not.
If you have that modifier called acting,
yes.
Is he the Senate President?
There you go. That's the question.
Okay. But again, I'm asking, is he the pro tempore?
Again, because you need to have, under their own
13.
Senate rules,
13.
you need to have 13.
Falsus in uno, falsus in omnibus. If he cannot be a Senate President, just an acting one, therefore he cannot be a Senate President pro tempore. Diba?
Okay.
Diba? Because there are only very specific requirements for an acting Senate President. And he doesn't satisfy all that
In
requirements.
Senate, please follow your own rules.
Do you see a convergence of, I don't want to use the word executive department, but you see all the agencies and bureaus slowly moving towards, gravitating towards Sherwin Gatchalian to eventually, I don't want to use the word crown him as the real Senate President, but it seems that is the direction.
Because that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Okay. And why is this the plan?
Because power.
Is it just power, or is it again, it goes back to the impeachment?
Well, it goes back to the bigger plan of perpetuating themselves into power. Because when you take away VP Sara Duterte, who is actually the show-in already, in fact, until now, there is no viable candidate from the opposing camp.
Katong gihangyo ni sa Senado nga, sa grupo nila APC, Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano, nga virtual. Your thoughts? Na ang mga senador pwede mo participate, especially on such a very important constitutional duty as impeachment?
I think we owe it to the Filipino people that the voters of these senators, number 2 si Batoha, when he was voted in, should not be disenfranchised. Diba? You're the representative of all those votes. And then just because the ICC is chasing him and the Philippines, apparently for purposes of that warrant, is now subservient to the ICC, i-disenfranchise ang...
Can Senator Jinggoy Estrada be the test case for this?
Mauna, no? And even Bato.
Okay, kung mag-granted si Senator Jinggoy, then pwede na ma-apply.
Technology should be used to further public good.
Attorney, I will ask you again, because we have a Chief Justice that cites the Trillanes doctrine. Your view only.
What's the Trillanes doctrine again?
I will ask you next time when you'll be my guest, and that forms the basis why even Senator Jinggoy cannot participate as a justice.
Well, actually, it can be a basis based on the level of the Senate, but not the Supreme Court, no? Because again, ang mga proposal at if you go back sa transcripts, when they filed that resolution, and that was struck down. But going back to what Irina said, about the virtual attendance, you know, sige na sila quote, no, kanang the impeachment court is sui generis, no, a thing of its own, very unique, wailain, no. It's quasi-judicial, no. In fact, the rules of court is applied to that suppletorily, no, with their own rules, no. So meaning to say, kung ang judiciary na to karon ni-adapt na sa virtual, in fact na yung mga virtual hearing, virtual disposition.
You're saying best practices.
Best practices.
Someone can even testify from abroad.
Okay. So gi-adapt na sa so meaning to say, doon na predicate kailangan naman sa atong judicial system.
What you're saying is what we need is just standards.
Yes, now karon
for that.
Now karon I have to address the political side of the impeachment. Saktos attorney, no? Milyon ang mandato nga gihatag sa mga Pilipino ni Senator Jinggoy, ni Senator Estrada ug ni VP Sara Duterte. Karon, kung nahimo sa hudikatura nga i-apply ang virtual participation, nganong dili man pwedeng i-apply sa political part or sa political branch of our government, in this case the Senate, aron dili ma-disenfranchise ang milyon nga botante ni Jinggoy, milyon ka botante ni VP Sara o ni Senator Bato.
Okay.
Diba?
Well, time is short. It ended and there's more to talk about, but this won't be, we have a pending invitation. Everybody's welcome, by the way, and you can participate. We will have you again, and then we'll talk about the Trillanes Doctrine. And then we'll also talk to, hopefully, Kamsek Juni Vasco when he is here and he's available. Dagan salamat, thank you very much for joining us.
Salamat sa kaayo.
So, para ma-discuss ba? Kay, hopefully, makabot po ni sa Manila.
Nalapod ko ihang yung gamay, Boss Eric, no? Sa mga nagtanaw karon nimo, siguro karon pa ko nila makita, no? Manggod ko sa mainstream nga media, no? Pwede nila na ako'y kada adlaw nga vlog, no? Podcast, live stream every day sa akong YouTube channel, The Amateur Pundit with E.B. Hugalbot, no? I also have a Facebook page, E.B. Hugalbot. So pangitaan lang ninyo ang E.B. Hugalbot niya. Makita
ay na lang ninyo pakutana ng pandit kay Mura. Basig mapalit lang na sa tindahan ng pandit. Anyway, thank you.
Salamat kayo, Boss Eric.
Thank you very much. So, yan po kabuuan nating programang Politics and Beyond. Pilipinas, amping, pirmi. Salamat.